Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Guys, we're going to have a thigh-slapping good time on this program. On this video, WWE released a statement. Basically, I won't read it word for word because I think other people have already read this word for word, but basically it says that any kind of leg slapping has been banned from the WWE. All right, guys, I will start with Rodney, as he has been one of the most vocal persons of the thigh slapping done by Terry Taylor. Rodney?
Well, not only that, but others, because when I see when people slap their legs, I turn it off because I think that's an insult. Nobody should be doing it. And I agree with Vince, but how long has he not been watching his own show? How long did it take?
Apparently.
I mean, how long did it take? And I also asked the same question. How long does Roman Reigns? Is it now the 5th month he's doing the same exact thing he was doing, 5 months ago? Was it going to change after WrestleMania? I mean, I get the point. He's the champion, but he's still doing the exact same thing he was doing 5 months ago. You need to change some stuff. It's the same talent. I mean, I've watched this. They're still featuring the same people. Do you not have any other more talent as well? But I'm fine. I think he's finally glad that I'm glad to see that they finally woke up and now putting an end to this nonsense.
Jack?
Oh, well, yeah, it's my turn. I hate slapping legs.
That's right.
I mean, I really do. And I get heat for it when I talk about it on social media. But, and here's the thing is we did stuff too that we shouldn't have been doing, like the stomp when we would punch. That became a big deal until some fan pointed out to me after a couple of years. I'd been in the business, and some fan said, "I know when you're going to throw a punch because you stomp your foot while you do it." So I never stomped my foot again after that. But almost everybody else did. But when it starts becoming apparent, when it's everywhere, I don't understand what took Vince so long to see this. Because guys are not even trying to cover it up anymore.
No.
And they're slapping over everything. I'll be honest. If you could do it where I wasn't seeing it, when you did a super kick, I could probably be okay with that. But it's done with everything, every move. They wear those.
They do it with a drop kick.
Yeah, and they do the kicks to the back with the shin pads on, kick pads, and those are those have kind of a rubber type material on the front. So when you hit bare skin, they pop, but they're still slapping even when they're getting a pop from what they're doing. I got blocked by a guy because I got onto him because on one of my shows, and I fired him, he took a backdrop and slapped his leg as he took the bump. And I had told him beforehand to cut down on the slaps, and he was slapping on everything. So I fired him. So then he came after me on social media, was saying something about it, and I said, that's very long. Of course, he cussed me out, and he's all that. I said, I just want to know why you were typing this. Did you slap your leg? And I got blocked. So no, I don't like it. I don't. There's a lot of things I don't like, but that's probably my foremost.
There's newer wrestling fans, and we love your comments. We love what you want to say about the leg slapping. Here's where the people, I don't think they get. They say that Vince McMahon is out of touch. I don't believe Vince McMahon is out of touch. If he's out of touch, I'd like to be out of touch like he is.
Yeah.
Just in television revenue. He's like $2 billion, maybe even $3 billion, with all the overseas. So if he's out of touch, I would be out of touch today. I don't think he's out of touch. I believe the problem with Vince is he doesn't have the Ted DiBiase's. He doesn't have the Junkyard Dogs. He doesn't have the Hulk Hogan's. He doesn't have those guys anymore that understood and was out in the front of the fans. They knew what worked and what didn't work. Here's the problem that he sees. He sees that that his world champion goes and does that Clarebond kick and misses the guy misses him, and then he still does the kick. When you get out right now, that's fine when you're with nobody. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get out with a crowd of people, and they're going to see that. They're going to watch that, and they're going to boo you out of the building. Because wrestling fans had to pay $60 to go see that. They're going to go see a bunch of really, really bad hokey stuff. You're not going to buy a ticket to go see a bunch of. You're not going to watch a bad movie. That's going to show. You're not going to watch Superman if you see the wires and you know the next thing they do, you see them on there going, yes, I know that I don't like you, Superman, and then follow it up with some hokey kicks.
Yeah.
You know, that just look horrible, and you slap your legs and you see them do it. You know, they'll say, well, Wrestling 2 did it. Well, I don't know. You know what? If Wrestling 2 did it, I never saw him do it. And I went to the wrestling matches a lot.
I was in there with him. So
I don't
remember nothing getting slapped.
Not a slap. He didn't do no leg slap. Now, he might have come down, looked like a forearm down across your back.
When he gave you the knee lift. But that was just because he gave you the knee lift.
That was part of the move.
Yes.
You know, I don't know that he did that for the sound effect. I did it. He did it for emphasis.
Yeah. You know, and there's, I'm not going to name the name of the guy that wants to believe that he is a expert in professional wrestling. I don't consider myself an expert in professional wrestling. But what I do know is I was around people like Nick Goulas. I was around people like Jim Barnett. I was around people like Bill Watts, Bill Dundee, Bob Armstrong, Ron Fuller. If it was your money and you were the one putting the money into this and it was your reputation, every time somebody did something that did not look good, you would say, don't do that again. If you were, and I don't care if it was in wrestling, I don't care if you were a basketball, would you allow your basketball player to be horrible and just allow it to happen? No, you wouldn't do that. Why is it going to be okay in the wrestling business? Oh, you just halfway do it and it's fine. Just make it look horrible. It don't matter. You wouldn't let a football player do it. You wouldn't let a basketball player. You wouldn't let a hockey team.
And that goes back to a comment that we've had in several of our shows. Well, why do we want it to make it look real? People don't know it is. If everybody knows it's not. I mean, that to me is the mentality of the wrestlers themselves. That and of course, like you're saying, the promoter should say, no, we're not going to put up with that here. It's just like I was talking about when Slater was slapping himself in the leg when he's getting punched in the corner. You know, Jimmy Crockett should have met him at the curtain and said, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. Said, and that won't ever be shown. We will not show that.
Because it's not about, it's about making it while you're watching it, you get in it. You know what I'm talking about? You want to get involved with it. So how can you get involved with it if it's going to look hokey? You're not ever going, you're never going to have a guy say, hey, buddy, come and watch this wrestling. And they're sitting down with you and they're watching that wrestling and you go, okay, yeah, I'm going to watch it. You do realize that guy just slapped his leg 3 times in that one match, right? You saw that, right? You do realize when that girl was down, she was hitting the mat. That stuff just look horrible. I ain't watching this crap. I ain't wasting time. I've got Netflix to watch. I'm watching Breaking Bad right now, and I ain't wasting my time watching professional wrestling. That thing's a hokey. But now you put the people in there, and you have somebody punching somebody and beating somebody, and then they're gonna sit there and go, "Woo, this is something to this." But if it's crap and if it looks bad, you will not. So fine if you're happy with 1.something million people, you never want to grow your business. You're fine. You just go ahead and do that. That's what Vince wants to do. Vince wants to he's not happy with 1.3 million, 1.8 million. He wants 7-8 million people, and he knows he ain't going to get them the way it's being done right now.
And so I'm going to say Fox and USA has talked to him.
Well, he told SmackDown that they would be hard. I think he told Fox from the beginning that show was going to be a hard-hitting action show, and it's not.
No.
Yeah. So
he knows he's going to lose that in 3 years when that contract, or 4 years, whenever it is, when that contract. He knows that's $200 million a year gone.
So yeah, so now it's, you know, if he wants to keep it, he's going to have to make some changes for sure.
And you know, and I understand people saying, "Well, that's just," and it is just a small, minute problem. It is, truly, it is. But it's a beginning to say we've got to make this show look real. If MMA today started doing shows where the guys was not halfway hitting people, what would happen to MMA?
Yeah, they would be done.
They would be done. People would quit watching them. People know wrestling is work. They know it's a show. But do you have to make it so apparent that it's a piece of crap? Really?
And for most of the wrestlers, yeah, they do.
You know, and I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm just
I mean, that's my opinion, because you think about it. This is stuff like this. The shows of today is exactly what some of the wrestlers back in the day when we were going all the time wanted. Explain to me why Abdullah the Butcher, Mark Lewin, and the Great Mephisto, Frankie Kane, the Inferno, who knew better, were riding with each other to the towns when they're going to work with each other in a cage match.
Well, talk about the flight. Let's talk about the flight that we're fixing to talk about Ric Flair on another video right here on the YouTube channel. The guys that were supposed to be fighting each other were flying together. They should all been fired. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it was then or it's now.
Yeah,
make people, but get them invested. You cannot get them invested in something.
And Jim Duggan and Steve Williams, that was who the letter was written about, because Watts would not call them both out and tell them to their face.
I've got a letter I will share with people one day.
And this was the ones that was going out in New Orleans to the bars after the show was Steve Williams and Jim Duggan. So a lot of people are happy with the way that it is now. They're happy with it. They like the idea that this is a show. Well, friends, it's not.
And I don't have a problem with being a show. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with people knowing that at the end of this, it wasn't real. But I have a problem with the show not looking real, and they make fun of wrestling. They're making fun of wrestling. And the new people that they try to get to watch the wrestling, they watch it and they laugh at it. It's a joke. And it's because it is a joke. It looks horrible. The matches are horrible put together. They're horribly done. And don't get me wrong, they're making a ton of money. All of them are. But how long will that happen? You know, how long will these networks say and put it?
Do we know what made Vince decide this is not a good idea?
I don't know, Jack. Did you ever hear it?
From what I read, he was just watching the shows, and the slapping just became so apparent to him that it just hit him that, hey, if I'm noticing this, fans are noticing this.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I'm also noticing that sometimes the punches in the corners are also, and I'm assuming that's the production adding sound effects.
Yeah, and they're shaking the camera too.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff, you know, for you know, and that's the reason I think AEW had a great choice. They had a great chance of changing what the product was, but they're producing the same show Vince is producing. Ring of Honor produces the same show Vince produces. Yep. There's no one. I think maybe the only people that come even close to not producing the same show is the wrestling in Texas, SWE.
Yeah, SWE.
I was watching a show of theirs the other night. They had some kind of sound problem on there. I noticed. Did you notice that?
Was I one that taking care of the sound for that show?
No, I think it was Kevin Sullivan doing the commentary.
See there, really?
Yeah, he is.
Is he really? Okay.
I kept saying, "What is that awful sound?" It was Kevin Sullivan doing the commentary.
But folks, we understand everybody has their thought process. And that's fine. We're all right with anybody having the thought process. We just want people to know that we understand it. We've all been promoters. We've promoted wrestling. We understand how people, but we all understand how we want to build something, and we know how it's going to be built.
Right.
And realism is the way the wrestling business is going to be going from 1.8 to 10 million. It has to be real. It has to look real. Now, they don't have to believe it. They don't have to believe it after they watch it. But they have to believe it while they're.
My always fallback analogy is Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I know it's not real, but if I saw the strings and I saw the guys at the computers making the graphics and all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't like it. I like the product once it's out there.
Sure.
You know, I believe in. I love Luke Skywalker because while he's on the screen, it's a believable character. Now, away from it, I understand that, but while I'm there, I've paid my money. I want you to make me believe, and they do that. And wrestling's no different. Absolutely no different.
No. By the way, Richard, I understand you said the camera crew is very important hiding that. They shouldn't have to hide something.
No, they shouldn't have to.
They shouldn't have to hide nothing. It should be good enough that there's no hiding. These people are men. All right, they're men. They knew they were getting in the wrestling business. They knew there was going to be punches. They knew there was going to be stuff like that. So if they can't handle it, go back to wherever you were doing before you got in the wrestling business and whatever that was, because then you won't have to be hit.
Yeah. Oscar got her front teeth kicked out the other night, and the internet exploded about how unsafe Shayna Baszler was for doing that. And I'm thinking, you folks have never been in the ring. Stuff happens. And we always had an expression for that. It was called good for the business.
Yeah.
It may hurt. It may scar you up. You may have to go get your teeth put back in. But, you know, stuff happens. It's not a matter of being unsafe. It's just the way we do it. You know, there's a thin line, you know, of a margin of error. You know, if you're doing it the right way, there's a thin line. Otherwise, you're slapping and missing both. You know.
That's right. If you slap your leg, it makes it sound like you've hit
it. And people can see it. So, you know, wrestling fans and people are not stupid.
No.
And when they get that in their minds, wrestling fans and the people who are watching the product, it's not stupid. If they'll get that in their minds, that they're going to be better off. Wrestling fans have never been stupid. They wasn't stupid in the 1970s because when it was crap, they didn't buy a ticket to see it. We were there. Right. We seen it. We were in Southeastern Championship Wrestling when they're drawing 200 people in Mobile, Alabama. We were in Southeastern when they were drawing 400 people at the Houston County Farm Center. We were in Georgia when they were drawing 200 people in Carrollton, Georgia. We were there. And we know why it wasn't drawn, because the matches sucked. We told our father as kids, these matches are horrible. They are absolutely horrible. That's the reason you're drawing 200 people. And this is as kids. We're 10 years old and 12 years old telling the matches were horrible. And knew why it wasn't drawn. We knew why it wasn't drawn. Bruiser Brody, everybody loves him, but he wasn't going to draw money in Atlanta because he didn't do nothing but fight. And you can't do that all the time. People aren't going to buy a ticket to see that. And we used to say, listen, people aren't going to see Bruiser Brody. They'll see him once or twice, but they're never going to see him on a regular basis because people aren't going to pay to see fight. This is wrestling. You know, it's you know, and that's you can just watch. If you look at the wrestling business and you look at from 1962 when our father was in it and he told us a lot about it, and then to what it is today, you can see the difference. You can see why they were drawn. Why were they drawn during their Attitude Era? Because you had Steve Austin and Vince McMahon both made everything they did look real.
Yep.
I mean, when he got hit with that bedpan, he actually hit him with the bedpan.
Yep.
You know, so let's go. But anyway, we could go on forever and talk about this. But if you enjoyed this video, give us the big thumbs up. Let's see, what's the next thing I'm supposed to say? Do the big
share. Share
the page.
Notification bell.
Let's see. Thumbs up, share the page, go one step further, hit that notification bell. And am I missing something?
I think we got it now.
All right. So we'll see you right here.
None of us drink, but we need to start.
We'll see you on the next video right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out.